were the first ones to have a community service department. It was because of Dave Perrin who ran it. So there you go. Man of all trades.
Yeah, so that was a big part of it then, and now you have an organization called Coaching Core.
Yeah, the idea of it came out of our experience with the A's. Rightly or wrongly, sports can do is a powerful thing, and as you all know, and it can bring a community together when you win, and it really we saw how it captivated kids in a really deep and profound way, and it gave us the idea of how can you use sports as a vehicle to give kids what they need, and you know, and what I mean, and sports lends itself so well to those teachable moments around life lessons and values, and we did some research and we discovered there's a great disparity today in our world between people who, depending on your zip code, where families are willing to encourage their kids to play more sports than ever before and become the super volunteers and drive them every waking moment to their next practice. And sadly, the opposite we discovered was happening in the inner city, where unlike what most of us, I think, experienced, and you played on a team even if you weren't a great athlete, you didn't have a choice. Only the really good athletes in certain schools in the inner city are getting to play sports, and in the after-school space, there's much more pay to play than just being able to go out and play on a team. So we created what's now known as Coaching Core, and essentially we take volunteers, college students, and members of the community, and train them to be volunteer coaches who we place with existing after-school programs like Boys and Girls Clubs, Park and Rec. So more kids who can't play get to play on a team, but as importantly, connect with a caring coach, a coach who can serve as a mentor, a friend, and for some kids might be their most important teacher. So that keeps me out of trouble, Paul.
Very good. Well, no. Oh, I wanted to ask you one more baseball music kind of connection, and that is when you own the A's, you worked with Bill Graham to a certain extent on the Days in the Green on the Oakland Coliseum. Yes. Is that right?
This is true.
I went to many of those. Those were fantastic.
Yeah,
and
they were wonderful, and I'll never. I don't. This isn't every question has a story, I guess. One time we were in Toronto for the playoffs, and I get a call from Bill Graham. And he goes, Wally, blah, 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 we've got a chance to have Bruce Springsteen here in a week. And, you know, it was this spur-of-the-moment thing. And I said, Bill, this was the days before they figured out how to preserve fields after you had 50,000 people in a rock band on it. And I said, Bill, we're in the playoffs. We can't, I mean, we'll be in the playoffs. We can't do that. He says, I promise you we have this new material we'll put down. You and I can stay up all night and I'll prove it to you because I will be there with you when we undo it. And it was very hard to say no to Bill Graham. And so it was my first and only Bruce Springsteen concert because I was there all night. And it did do okay. So we did that. No, it was all right.
Did you become kind of friends? Were you friends after?
We were very close friends. In fact, I was actually supposed to have, he knew my turned out to be my wife before I knew Bill, and before we became a couple, we worked together, or we didn't work very well together, she and I. And the first time I met Bill was at a show that the Sons were playing, but what I didn't realize is my wife gave me the wrong start time on purpose. And that's not a good way to meet Bill Graham when you are late for one of his shows. It was, in fact, really bad. We did become very good friends.
Yeah. I miss him still, you know?
Me too. Yeah, he was bigger than life. He really was.
Right. So I don't know how long we've talked. Should we open this up to questions now? Is that fine? Good? Okay. Anybody
or
have
not.
some questions?
It's fine.